For me, Madam Speaker, the 2023 budget is a momentous one for me, as it is the first time, Madam Speaker, that I am in the House and I'm able to join the debate on this national budget in the capacity as a member of the government bench, Madam Speaker. In my first two presentations of the budget, I sat, Madam Speaker, on the benches opposite. And you would have heard the Honourable member opposite talking about, the prophetic word that I gave, that I will not remain over there for too long. And I give God thanks for this opportunity where I can represent the people. But while sitting there, Madam Speaker, I would have seen members on the bench supporting faulty budgets. Some were begging and pleading for additional money. And of course, you know what happened after that. But I purposed in my heart, Madam Speaker, then and know that I would never, as a member of this House, seek to support or critique the budget based on where I sit in the House. I am determined to focus closely on how the budgetary provisions for 2023 can best ably bring relief to families, better educate our children, and better equip our St. Kitts and Nevis to become a robust, progressive, and sustainable advancing country. I want to outline, Madam Speaker, how, in partnership with other ministries and departments, the Ministry of Education, Youth Empowerment, Human Settlement, Gender Affairs, Aging and Disability, Social Development, and Ecclesiastical and Faith-Based seeks to offer meaningful solutions for the people in the form of public policy formulation and action in this fiscal year 2023. Through the various departments and units within these ministries, I pledge to improve the ability of government service to the young, the elderly, the aspiring homeowners, and the vulnerable among us. The primary goal of this budget is to ensure that all the people are positively impacted as we aim to prepare people for advancement under a new economic and social thrust, Madam Speaker. And just before I move on, I think it's fitting for me to commend my junior minister on the report that she laid before us this morning. And sometime during my presentation, I will add a little bit here and there. But I speak to, Madam Speaker, education, because as you know it, as one of my students, as part of my passion. But holistic, and I read something, Madam Speaker, holistic learning is a cornerstone to pivoting a society from operating without clear focus and planning to one in which clear priorities of sustainable advancement of the people and the society are the heart of all government planning and action. There must be education that is geared towards securing the improvement of our people at all levels, including the creation of more robust businesses and home ownership initiatives, Madam Speaker. The Ministry of Education is mandated in 2023 to effectively utilize $111.9 million in spending to ensure that our schools are safe spaces for our children and teachers alike. Madam Speaker, it's quite a lot, but I was really, I am grateful, but more would have been done if I had gotten a little extra, but I am grateful. There will be a vigorous program, Madam Speaker, of renovation, maintenance, and the general upkeep of our schools. Something went wrong here, Madam Speaker.
Do you want it bigger?
I changed the page. Sorry about that. Yeah, I have it here. I know, Madam Speaker, and as a scout, you must always be prepared. And when technology tends to act up, you go to the original. So as I was saying, Madam Speaker, the Ministry of Education is mandated in 2023 to effectively utilize the amount that they gave. And we are going to be vigorously moving towards renovation, maintenance, and the general upkeep of schools. In 2023, our focus will be on outfitting all bathrooms in our schools to be hygienic and befitting of dignity with which we should treat our students. Focus will also be made to overhaul, Madam Speaker, the electrical infrastructure in our schools. The light should be working and electrical outlets should be adequate and in working order in all our schools. We have budgeted to seriously undertake this initiative in 2023. Madam Speaker, it was real painful for me when I visited all of my schools, and I said I visited all high schools, all primary school, all private schools, all daycare centers, all private daycare centers, Madam Speaker, in just a short space of time. Because I came to Nevis, thank you very much, Honourable Member. Yes. And as I said, it was a bit painful for me when I saw the state that some of our schools are in. And I am determined that I will fix that. Because, Madam Speaker, some may remember that a school improvement initiative was also promised in last year's budget, in the 2022 budget. The difference between the 2023 budget allocation, Madam Speaker, and that which was promised in 2022 is that there is now an administration which is serious about delivering the programs Safer Schools for our children, and we intend to deliver just that, Madam Speaker. We intend to deliver it through the expansion of the school maintenance unit within the Ministry of Education. We intend to hire and partner with more skilled maintenance workers to keep our school plant at peak readiness to support learning. Our teachers and students will be better served, Madam Speaker, through the policy actions of the Ministry of Education through provision of this 2023 budget. I must interject, Madam Speaker, that I went ahead of the Honourable Minister of Finance in the sense that I was waiting for the money's allocation to be given to start the maintenance unit. But as the person responsible for the STEP program, we have some skilled STEP workers there, and immediately put 4 of them to work, and they were able to do a fantastic job at the Tucker Clark Primary School, tidying off some classrooms, covering over some tables that were there since I attended that school, and I commend them. Oh boy, don't remind me. We can't allow, Madam Speaker, our schools to remain in this state. Imagine, Madam Speaker, in my short time, as I said, I visited all of the schools. Not only did I visit, in that short space of time, Madam Speaker, I was able to get a comprehensive audit done for the needs of all of our schools, including our early childhood daycare centers. And, Madam Speaker, when I pulled from the document, focusing on renovation of our schools, the window initiative that we are doing in terms of the replacement of our windows, all of the replacement of the windows for all of the schools that I just indicated and the early childhood centers were coming up to less than $14 million, Madam Speaker. But rather than focusing on the things that are needed to be done, we had an administration prior to, and you heard the PM, the Prime Minister, the Honourable Member for number 8, spoke about it in his budget presentation. They thought it was best to invest $14,427,999.40. 40 cents extra, Madam Speaker, on managing dirt, as I have said, at the new site. But I visited there, and it's not only dirt, you know, Madam Speaker. It is dirt and what we call, when we was growing up, hog meat. A lot of hog meat over there for $14 million when that could have been invested in upgrading our schools. But, of course, but Madam Speaker, I have been charged with the responsibility of delivering the real deal in education and my other ministries, and I've taken it on very, very seriously, and I will deliver that deal, Madam Speaker. Our spending in the Ministry of Education in 2023 will also ensure that our schools will become centers of excellence with focused specialization in various secondary and primary schools across the island, through an enhanced approach to curriculum development and a more vigorous approach to curriculum monitoring and evaluation. The Ministry of Education will, in 2023, undertake a focused national assessment of the syllabuses, or the syllabi, as the English experts might want to hear, for better learning outcome, Madam Speaker. We want to be certain that our schools are effective in serving our children and meeting the country's social and economic projections. Madam Speaker, simply put, we are jumping out of the box in 2023 when it comes to education. Skills would be now taught in our primary schools. Madam Speaker, are you going to want to go back to school? Schools of linguistics, schools of fashion designs, schools of the creative and performing arts, Madam Speaker, just to name a few. And we're starting this September, like I say, School of Excellence we want to present. Madam Speaker, in 2023, the government of St. Kitts and Nevis will undertake a meaningful start of the work on the Bastia High School. After many false starts over the last 7 years, Madam Speaker, and if I can remind you, I used to be an athlete. Yes, 100, 200, 400 meter runner. And once you had a false start, in the modern days now, in our days you could have had many false starts. But in the modern time, after a false start, 1 or 2, you're disqualified. But Madam Speaker, after all those false starts, reality came. August 5th, disqualified. But I am committed, Madam Speaker, in building the new Bastia High School right there on the original spot. And Madam Speaker, I don't know if you drive up there, but the work has begun to demolish the building on the existing site. And what was real heartwarming for me when I visited, when I saw some 8 small contractors up there removing the roof and the 2x4s and that kind of stuff, spreading it right across, Madam Speaker. Because I've seen in other cases, Madam Speaker, one company carry home close to 800,000 on certain jobs that they had to do. And I said that would not happen under my watch, and we shared the pie. So the roofs are almost done, with the exception of the western side that will be delayed because Carnival will be using the grounds for parking, so we did not want to interfere. But we are working on that. And of course, Madam Speaker, the government would clear the site in preparation for building, finalizing concepts drawings for the new school, and begin mobilizing, or the mobilization of the building just about 2024. Money in the budget to start all of what I just spoke about, Madam Speaker. And we are going to do it. It has been too long, Madam Speaker, that students of the Bastia High School have been languishing and in an inadequate space that should have been temporary, and is way past 7 years now. 7 years of temporary with no sight of permanent solution, Madam Speaker, is too long. But thank God the 2023 budget begins the march towards building the new Bastia High School. 2023 will be the start towards establishing a new home as well, Madam Speaker, for the Cotton Thomas Comprehensive School. Work begins in the new fiscal year to create a satellite campus for the Cotton Thomas Comprehensive School in what today is known as the Estridge Primary School. I think I made in one of my presentations in Parliament that we are merging the Estridge Primary School and the Edgar T, and Cotton Thomas will occupy that. So, Madam Speaker, it is going to be a sight to see. Because you know me, when I'm negotiating, I'm going for everything. So while we are getting that school done, Madam Speaker, I raise the concern of our Spectrum Center. And I was successful in being able to get the Spectrum Center, Madam Senator, will be also housed over there. So everything will be in one space, but of course, two independent spaces. We are serious about taking care of our students, Madam Speaker. Economies of scales and other factors of efficiency have made it prudent, Madam Speaker, for the government to the amalgamating and the learning and the social cohesion possibilities of teaching the children of the mansion and tabernacle in one learning space. As such, in 2023, the 2023 budget provides for the upgrade of the Edgar T campus. We're not just moving the students, but we're upgrading the school, Madam Speaker. Because I was told monies were given out for work to be done at the school, that's Edgar T in Tabernacle, and some of the work were not completed. Roofs went on, however, I don't know if it's a tailor put them on or a contractor, and monies paid and collected for the fence, and no fence up to this day. And the record shows that monies were disbursed to get a fence. But we are moving forward, Madam Speaker, and we are upgrading that school down there. Madam Speaker, higher learning is a priority of this government. The preparation for future leadership, in this country comes through training, and that is not always affordable to our young people. As a result, access to information that allows our best and brightest to apply for existing scholarships is important. Very important. In 2023, the Ministry of Education will establish a functional scholarship desk. I said 2023, but I should let you know, Madam Speaker, that that has already been put in place. But I'm now getting a little sugar cake to be able to get other persons there to go after the scholarships wherever they are. This unit, Madam Speaker, in the ministry will create a hub for interested citizens to get information on the availability of higher learning and other training opportunities. And I'm happy because the Prime Minister made a statement already that we now have access to Germany, and we are going after them wherever they are, Madam Speaker. One of the aims of the scholarship desk is to build relationship between the ministry and tertiary institution, both at home and abroad, Madam Speaker. Because our citizens must have access to higher learning that is affordable. Very key. The ministry has already entered into discussion with schools such as the Western Illinois Ross University and the University of the Virgin Islands, and of course, Madam Speaker, I attended Florida Memorial University in Miami. I don't put things in place. I'm just waiting on the right time when I get an opportunity so that I can travel. And I'm going to go with an empty suitcase because I know when I return, I will be bringing back scholarships, because our discussion thus far, Madam Speaker, it's expected to bear great fruits, Madam Speaker. I want to say to you, the people, through you, Madam Speaker, that the Ministry of Education will unveil its continuity of learning program in 2023. With the kind of assistance from CDB and other areas. I listened to the member opposite yesterday talking about the one-to-one laptops, concerns taken, but as the Honourable Member for number 3 was indicating, that these are things that can be fixed, and they will be fixed, because we are rolling out the one-to-one laptop, Madam Speaker. And I think it's fitting for me to indicate to the Honourable House that although we were getting some through CDB, 8,000 devices, the Honourable Prime Minister taking a feather out of one of my many caps, begging, was able to do a good job. And we added 3,000 more devices to the 8,000 that we did. And of course, as I told, because you get out, you did your own, and then I just thought, because I was offered, I said, you know what? It's one federation. I don't want to be greedy, but, and remember they're doing means testing, and you need to make sure that the internet is out ready and those kind of stuff. So instead of giving you more than 1,000 and over there sitting down, I said, let me start you off with 1,000. And I'm certain that you are very much grateful for that. But of course, Madam Speaker, our policy on education is not just safer school. It is built on the pillar of access to education for all. Very, very important. In education, the government will pursue an agenda that is holistic and empowering for all. The $111.9 million is just not a series of capital and recurrent expenditure items. They are an investment in the future of this country. It means, Madam Speaker, by the close of 2023, every dollar budgeted on these programs should have been correctly spent for the onward advancement of our young society. And of course, Madam Speaker, I am a good manager. So I have to make sure I manage this money, because guess what, Madam Speaker? Next year can't be this amount. It got to be some more. So once you after trusted me, the Honourable Minister for Finance is going to say, give him what he needs. Madam Speaker, I move on now to housing and human settlement and ecclesiastical affairs. In providing housing solutions for this St. Kitts and Nevis, it is important, Madam Speaker, for us to put certain things into perspective. This Labour administration holds the record, and I want to believe I could say it in the Caribbean, of being able to deliver most affordable homes to our ordinary people per capita. And we made a political promise during our campaign that housing will be one of the priorities. And this is a number one item on the agenda. Soon as God allows us to see 2023, January, homes will be delivered to about 200 families. And I'm hearing the Honourable member here saying that Central Bastille will be getting their homes. It's not only Central Bastille, West Bastille, St. Paul, number 6, number 5, number 3, number 4, number 1, of course, and number 7. Well, we'll see what happens over there. No, we don't have a problem in it, because the building of these homes, Madam Speaker, is both public and private involvement. And it might be so much or so many that the Honourable member, of course, over on the opposite side will be able to benefit. I can't build no house now unless I build 8, because it's 8 had the money. But Madam Speaker, what I like about the new initiative, or the new housing initiative, or the revolution, however you want to record it, it will be one filled with innovation and technology. Smart homes, as the Honourable member said. We just want the providers, the contractors, to start thinking the way how we are. Turning on your lights, using your phone before you reach your place. And we're going to try these things, Madam Speaker, because the Honourable member from number 3 the other day on his phone was doing all sorts of things in this house. People probably think that somebody in the house going in the fridge door opening and all that kind of stuff. So we are bringing the technology to our people, the IT professional. We have such an awesome team, Madam Speaker, well versed, and we are grateful. The Ministry of Housing and Human Settlement will in 2023 seeks to incorporate the government home building into the post-COVID economic recovery of St. Kitts and Nevis. Job creation for our builders and other skilled workers will be integral to the further advancement of the construction sector. And I hear them every day, they can't wait for this to really open up. The aim, Madam Speaker, of our housing initiative is not only to provide accommodation and housing solution for our people, but to provide significant employment for our skilled and unskilled workers, Madam Speaker. And while I'm here, I must interject, Madam Speaker, that our skilled workers, our ordinary, and what we like to refer to as our small contractors, I am going to make a plea this morning in this Honourable House, this afternoon. Because from my short experience being the minister responsible for housing, it's very troubling or troublesome when you see and hear of some of the things that's happening at NHC in regards to the construction of some of these homes. After people done move in the house, a year, 2 years, wall got to break down because maybe the plumber deem it as a small job, ain't take his time or her time, forget to stick a pipe or tape it so that no stones or anything could go down in it, and then we have all sorts of problems. What is comforting, Madam Speaker, and a quick run to Antigua for a funeral, I still worked. I went to the National Housing Corporation down there because you need to look at good practices. And I recognize that there are quite a lot of similarities because my wife, girlfriend, her best friend, happened to get one of the homes, and one morning we're there, she just moving in, water for days in one of the rooms, tiles lift up talking about Antigua. Only to find out, Madam Speaker, that when they put in the pipe, they must have known that the pipe had a hole. And instead of replacing it, they still finish the job and it's a problem. We don't want this in this round of our housing revolution. We're asking our contractors and our skilled men and women to take pride in what they're doing, because when we have these, they're not hurting our government, because government go and government come and come back and we come back and we ain't going nowhere. But we got to make sure, Madam Speaker, that the same small man you're trying to help is the same small man making it difficult for the smaller people who you want to help. We got to be honest with whatever we are doing. And Madam Speaker, in the budget, you realize that $5 million was allocated for housing. And I guess somebody might ask why that amount. But you know, we are innovators. Homes will be coming from all sorts of places. We will be delivering them. But that $5 million there, I must say to my good people of East Bastia that will be going towards the completion of the West Street project that started, and we are going to complete it. They don't know this, but I'm not going to call any names, Madam Speaker, but I want to congratulate the 6 persons, the 6 new home owners or occupiers who will be receiving a telephone call, if they have not done so before Santa come down the chimney, that they will be getting the opportunity to be in a much better space. And I want to, you hope, well, everybody going to get. But it's only 6 I had over there, and he had about 2,500 applications, so you had to throw them in one sort of battle, and you know, that kind of, yes. But we are going to do that, Madam Speaker. And I give the assurance, like I did earlier, to all. But I have investigators out there trying to sniff out areas where homes could be built. And Pine Gardens, Madam Member for number 2, have a spot right there, so you might be the first set to get your 5.
It's $5 million.
You want half it? Oh boy. Well, we'll work on it. But as I said, Madam Speaker, we are innovators. And I've started several conversations with potential investors. And I must say at this time that I was happy when I had a conversation, and I see some police officers here, so they'll feel very good to hear. The police credit union, after discussing with them about our newness in housing, they are jumping on board, Madam Speaker, and they are going to make some loans or monies available for the NHC to build some homes for our police officers. So we are happy that the police credit union is on board, and I believe, you know, once you start something, somebody else might feel jealous and want to come. So I say, all of you come, we must build homes. Madam Speaker, the ministry also desires to undertake a phased approach to improving the beauty of our communities by providing homes for our people on now abandoned and derelict properties in our communities. Government will systematically, and I've been speaking to the AG, seek to identify ownership of these abandoned and derelict properties in various communities with a view, Madam Speaker, to modernize the areas. And of course, Madam Speaker, everything we do over here, we're going to do it the right way. So all of the entities will be involved, the legal, everybody. But what I want to bring to this Honourable House here is that sometimes it's always good to have conversations with people who other people might think, you know what they're saying. And in having such one of those conversations, Madam Speaker, I was able to identify some of these owners in my constituency. Matter of fact, very close to where I grew up. And after I shared the ideas of what we intend to do, the people are excited, AG, about selling their lands so that we can rebuild and revitalize communities, Madam Speaker. So what we are going to do is to make sure that we do a pilot phase. And once you get one started, others are going to do it. And what we intend to do, Madam Speaker, because you know, living in certain areas are very sentimental to people. They get the land from their great-grandmother and they don't want to sell it, and they don't have no use for it, they're not coming back. What we intend to do, Madam Speaker, is when we get the opportunity to purchase these lots, we are going to make one of the spaces available to that family so that they hold on to that sentimental value. That boy may want to move out of Carty Alley. But when we develop Carty Alley and you know that you still got Clayton, you know you got something up Sebastian Street, you're going to feel proud about it, knowing that you would have assisted in beautifying our communities. And we're hoping to do about 40 of these in 2023. I see Honourable Senator looking at me, sound like she has some person that she wants to assist. Excellent, and I welcome that. But in closing, Madam Speaker, on housing, on housing, remember I said I got a trailer load of ministries, you know. But again, Madam Speaker, I make a plea. I find too often some of our very own, we are not kind to ourselves and to others. And when persons are given the opportunity to own a home and start to pay a mortgage, some people forget that government don't give free homes. Government provide opportunities to own. And Madam Speaker, my heart broke when meeting with NHC, they shared with me how much money we have out there for rent or mortgage. You have any idea, Madam Speaker? Just about $12 million are out there to be collected from persons who are not paying for their homes. That's not good enough, Madam Speaker. And if I am going to be the Minister of Housing to make a difference, I will. And as such, things will have to be done. You know what is even more painful, Madam Speaker? When the workers them at the institution, and all of them are working hard, would be making their calls to people to remind them that you need to come in and pay. Some of them bold enough to tell them, don't call back this number because such and such minister know that I wasn't working and they still gave me the house. So how am I to pay for the house? Is that responsible? I don't think so, Madam Speaker. So we are going to be doing a number of things in the corporation to try and get persons to come in and pay what they're supposed to pay or what they can. What is even more painful is when you discover some of them, Madam Speaker, have their low-income homes on rent, charging people up to $1,250 a month, and their obligation for NHC is $475, and no part of the heart start to click to tell them that they need to give NHC the $475. Madam Speaker, we got to put an end to this. Everybody would need a home, or would think that they need a home. But if you can't, you just can't. And we will work with people. Some even creative. They start off with one bank account and you start to take the first month's pay, and then they shut down the account and no more money come in. That is not going to continue, Madam Speaker. So I'm going to seek the honourable members in this house, as a teacher myself, to share their ideas as to how we would be able to fix this. Because at the end of the day, the country belongs to all of us. You see this paper I have in my hand here, Madam Speaker? From constituency number 1 to number 8 on it. With all the people them who, whether having difficulties or just in care, or feel that they get a gift, millions of dollars. Constituency number 7 alone. And whether the honourable member was in here or not, I was going to say it, so it's not because I just see him walking. Over $2 million to be collected. And the list goes on. My constituency in it, as I say, it's only $1 million, but it's $1 million too much. Number 2, 1.3 are coming, but you win the cake. Number 3, $1.3 million. That's why I asked with the assistants. I'm happy that you asked me to do it. Honored. Number 4, $1.6 million. Number 5, very small, $812,000. Number 6, 1.4. Number 7, as I said, 2 million plus. And number 8, $1.4 million. Madam Speaker, this is not good enough. So I've already given the instructions to the NHC Corporation, the new board, and they're working. We're going to come up with some sort of refinancing program where persons will come in and they tell us how much they can pay. And let us start at that level. If they say they could pay $300, we take the 3. Even though it's at 8, the mortgage supposed to be. Because at the end of the day, we need to be helping people, not hurting them. So when ministers or politicians or even supporters know that Mary Jane can't afford a house and you force her name up to get a house, and then Mary Jane and Peter Paul end up in this category, did you really assisted that person? I don't think so. Thank you for that little lesson. Now, Madam Speaker, I move on to the area of ecclesiastical affairs. And I'm happy to report that I met with the Christian Council and Evangelical Association and the Seventh Adventist Organization or representative. And we started a discussion, and I'm looking forward to a fruitful network. As a Christian myself, Madam Speaker, and this country is a God-fearing nation, it is important for us to make sure that these arms function and function well and also function fairly. So one of the discussions I had with them is that I expect them to be able to guide me so that I'll be able to assist in pushing the country in the direction that the country needs to go. But I see you a lot of times in church, Madam Speaker, so I know that you're quite aware that whatever we do, it cannot be seen hypocritical. You can't even talk on a matter for whether 5, 6 years, and then you're going to think, no, you want to address it, because in the sight and the eyes of God, you'll be seen, as hypocrites. So I'm really looking forward to the relationship, and they've given me that assurance. I'm excited, just as how I'm excited about education. This part of my ministry I'm excited about, because in the very first meeting, Madam Speaker, we were able to come to an understanding, and the AG will guide me or other senior officials. As soon as next year starts, we are going to, or the announcement would be made before. We are going to identify a day that is going to be a day known to Kittitians and Nivisions, that is the day of praying and fasting for the nation and for families. We must establish a day. And I think what we did in our discussion, I could say it now, but we could always make changes. The last day in January. And this ain't going to be no just reading out of a book or just saying. It is a time when the church is going to really bombard heaven for the nation and for our families, if we are really serious about nation building and maintaining what God expects of us going forward. So when we establish this day, I don't want this church A1 to come, that church A1 to participate, or this one. No. It's everybody on board if we are true soldiers in God's army. So we'll get more information on that, Madam Speaker. But we are going to shut down. It's not a holiday, but it's going to be a time when your ministries will be able to go, pray, do what you have to do. You do it at home. And of course, we have other things. And we are going to do some stuff different. One of the events I'm going to do, we're going to bring all of our pastors, our ministers, our faith-based leaders together. Whether in a forum, a conference, or whatever, so that they can share their vision or what they think they can contribute differently towards nation building. So I am looking forward to greatness. I now move on to youth empowerment and aging and disabilities, just to support the honourable member. The work of the Ministry of Youth Empowerment, Aging and Disabilities is important to creating a more perfect society in which we protect the vulnerable and increase the capacities of all to function within the society. The budget helps us, Madam Speaker, as a government to continue to provide the frameworks that are necessary for the training and capacity building of our youths, given better policy direction for the aging and those living with special needs, and providing the required human resources deliver on the policy action. $2.5 million, as the honourable member indicated, is what was allocated to this ministry. And we are going to make it work, like I said in the past. You perform, you are rewarded with extra. And I want to commend the workers, the officers in these various ministries for the work that they have been doing. Because it was by divine intervention that we now have this new ministry. Because having done some work myself with persons with disabilities, when I was in the PEP program as the director, I went around this country to identify these persons with disabilities, and I brought them together. Had them placed at the McKnight Community Center. They are still there. And they were trained, and they continue to be trained in all sorts of areas. And I remember having a conversation with the honourable member for number 8, the PM. And I told him, if I'm going to get anything to do with social protection, and please spell out aging and disabilities. Because when it comes to aging, Madam Speaker, I love being around them as well. You learn a lot from them. You get to drink all sorts of bush tea. Anything happen to you, they got a remedy, they can help you. So I like to be around them. But when I see how some of them are living, it is very painful. And I'm happy with how the minister represented herself this morning as to how we intend to make a difference when it comes to aging and disabilities. I'm just in for 3 months, just about or 4. I've already constructed 2 ramps in my constituency. One in particular, I know for a fact, for over 7 or 8 years, Anthony Mills, I could call his name, have been asking for a ramp in a particular area that would allow him to do his own shopping. That was not delivered. And after my ascension, I called him and I told him, you are now going to have that ramp. And I'm happy that I was able to make a little difference in somebody's lives who waited so long. And going forward, Madam Speaker, these are some of the things we got to deal with urgency. I know everybody feels that their matters are always urgent, but we should be able to discern really what is. And some of these are basic. You know, people in wheelchair that need to get some, we got to provide for them. Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, how much more time I have?
We're on 1 hour in.
Huh?
So you have 30 minutes.
Get in there. So, Madam Speaker, I would want to take at this time this opportunity to encourage all citizens and residents to learn more about the role of the Ministry of Aging and Disabilities, what assistance it offers and how that assistance can be accessed. Because there are a lot of times things are there, persons don't know, and then they feel that they can't be helped. The services being offered can make the difference in our lives and that of a family member, a neighbor, or a friend. We need to take full advantage of the support and the quality of care that is available through the work of this ministry. They have been working, Madam Speaker. And if I touch on social development in the area of community consciousness, I continue to share in the conviction of the learned economists who say that despite the availability of resources, our needs are infinite, and it takes the effective management of resources to best satisfy the boundless needs of mankind. And you heard it coming out from the Honourable Minister. We must be able to manage. Madam Speaker, I said that because as we look to the budget to provide for the needs of the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, there must be that need that we can't afford to be thinking that we can do things as usual when it comes to these social programs. We are empowering our families and communities. In my constituency, St. Christopher number 1, there continues to be the need of community organization to better complement the work of the government in our schools, in providing sporting programs and providing health care. I was happy to hear that I'm getting my sporting complex, and my junior minister have given me the assurance that she's going to make sure that East Bastia Community Center would be a center of excellence and not a heat box. Yes, you can lose weight quickly if you're going there, because all of the windows are boarded up, and of course there are no AC units. But I beg two already, Madam Speaker. I want to touch briefly on the point of volunteerism, because volunteerism, Madam Speaker, is something that is so rewarding, takes you places that you don't even had an idea that you would have. And that's how I lived my life. I volunteered to do just about everything. Got called all sorts of names because I was volunteering. But it never deterred me. And I'm calling on our citizens to get back in that mind of volunteerism. That is how we are able to build our communities as well. But we are now a society that from the time you ask someone to do something, they ask you, well, how much I get him paid? Why should I volunteer when them they are getting money and they ain't doing nothing? You should let them their work. But it is going to be key, especially in this ministry and other ministries, as we move forward, Madam Speaker. Of course, we can't underscore the importance of the food packages that we continue to distribute, whether on a personal level, whether it is via the Kia Foundation, whether it is at social development. These are important. Matter of fact, Madam Speaker, I have been doing this for a number of years and I continue. And what I like about it, my children are also in it. So there's a certain pantry in my home, a space that is always stocked with things. So anybody pass, apart from the regular monthly distribution, anybody come, and I am not at home, anyone could go and give somebody a package. And this must be encouraged. And of course, with everything you do it with discernment. Because you don't want persons, Madam Speaker, to be taking advantage of your heart, of your foundation. So we are asking persons to get back into that mood of wanting to volunteer. Madam Speaker, I move here now to the STEP program. Now, when the PEP started, the idea behind the PEP program was to provide persons with an opportunity to either gain some skills that they can eventually turn into something livable, if I should use that term, and in other areas to be their own bosses. Over the years, that program would have shifted from that, Madam Speaker. And I'm not here to bash any program, because as a lion myself, part of our code of ethics is to build up and not destroy. But I think it is important and necessary for the nation to have a clear idea of some of the irregularities that I detected or the staff detected at the STEP program. For some people, Madam Speaker, it is regarded as a part-time job. Persons are gainfully employed but are still on the STEP program as permanent. Some are so creative, they're on a job 8 to 4, that's where they are. And on the STEP time sheet, they're still coming in 8 to 4. But how one person could work 2 places the same kind of hours? And these are practices that we must cut out. Some are facilitated by employers, because when the PEP program started, many did not respect it because of the fact that they thought that SIDF had a lot of money and they could do as they like. But I am getting another chance now, Madam Speaker. So I have started fixing and cleaning up some of those irregularities. Previously, Madam Speaker, supervisors were told to just put in times, whether they know the person, not checking to see if the person really at the place where they're supposed to be. That can continue, Madam Speaker. We detected that there were some government employees who were also being paid from the STEP program. Getting pay from government and finding other ways of getting more money, double dipping, and politicians supported that. That's evil in the sight of God. Some, Madam Speaker, get paid without the forms and the names coming in to the office, Madam Speaker. It had a list with probably about close to 20, I don't want to lie. Said that they're taking care of all sorts of people. And now government change and you send out people to verify you. Nothing tall go so. Nothing tall go so. And what make it even painful is when some of them telling you, well, they tell me I could take care of my grandmother and I could get the pay. Can we continue doing this thing, Madam Speaker? Recognizing that, immediately I gave the charge for the workers at the STEP office, and I want to commend them. I want to commend their leadership in such a short space of time and their detective eyes. And also because we send some sniff dogs down there. And what we did to correct that, immediately we contacted the CFBC through the Health and Science Division and asked them to run a program where we can train our young people to become home care officers. So in the early stages of next year, January, 25 of those would graduate as certified home care officers, and they'll be assigned to social aging and disabilities, going around in the various communities and helping our elderly, and even those who are not elderly but because of whatever disability, providing that. And it's not going to stop, Madam Speaker, because we have more persons now wanting to do that. And it's going to end up being a double whammy for some persons, but they qualify themselves for it. There are persons out there who are looking for that kind of service on a private level, and these persons who are certified with their certificate from CFBC, well accredited, would be able to say to Mary Paul, I'm certified. It's okay, you can go away for the 2 weeks vacation, take some relief, and I will be able to do that. That is what we want to do for our aging population.
Honourable Member, you have 15 minutes left on your allotted time.
You mean on the 90 and then ask?
Yes, sir.
I promise you may not use up all of the extra, but are coming.
At the end of the 15,
Yes.
you make your request.
No problem. Thank you very much, Honourable Member. Madam Speaker, sorry. I know, but Madam Speaker, if that's a prophecy, well, in here over this side, that piece is holy ground. We are standing on holy ground. So, what you want me to declare, AG? I said it in the atmosphere, and it shall be accomplished. Thus says the Lord. Moving right on, Madam Speaker. We are asking that the businesses, some of them, take a more serious role in ensuring that the step workers that they have, they are really doing what they have to do and send in the right timesheets. We are tightening up on a lot. Now, Madam Speaker, I also discovered that there are participants who are on, just for the short, what the peace program is not the ALP. They are still on the STEP program. No, can't happen. Should not happen. And we have put a stop to it. We can't do this double dipping. Not that you have an issue with helping people who are really deserving of it, but it should not be on the basis of taking advantage. Some of them, Madam Speaker, going home with more money than some who spent hours in university and get a lot of F's and D's and then eventually pass. We cannot support these. Yes, we are going to hell, but we are not going to allow persons to take advantage. And we are not blaming nobody because the money belongs to the taxpayers. So you can't be on step, say you're working, and still on peace, and you're supposed to be working on peace. Going forward, we won't allow that. Another thing, and I'm wrapping up on step because we have PAP, is that what we recognize as well, in the program, persons register as business, or the businesses are registered, and they are being paid to operate their own business. But that's the word of the government now. We can't do that, Madam Speaker. We can't do that. We can't pay you and then pay all. So in other words, they're winning all around because they're getting paid to get the shoe store, and we paying them workers. And what is really painful, Madam Speaker, because you know, I go up on the street and some of these things I knew before. I was in the program. I'm not saying the program was perfect. But when you realize things, if I made mistake at first in the program, and you get a chance to run that same program, there should be some level of improvement. But don't allow it to turn out to be the worst ever. And we are working on fixing these issues, Madam Speaker. And I see, I don't know, oh, she's right here. Jennifer Evelyn, she is the one right now who is acting in that capacity, and I want to personally call her out. I guess some of it is because she had many years working with a lawyer, and if it's so I boy and Madam Speaker, yes, she used to work with him, so she know she got to go and find information wherever the information is, and I'm happy for that. But as I speak to the businesses, the program was intended to assist you in reaching a particular place in your business. And I remember when we tried, Madam Speaker, to say business per half, the $150, and then this PEP program at the time would have paid the other $150. So it's a partnership. Because of politics, rant and rage of the country, oh no, they need to do that, they need to help people, and that kind of stuff. When the program was designed, you get your training, they work with you. After a particular time, if you're satisfied with the performance, you move towards taking them permanent. Some stores had like 5 people assigned to them, a small little store. Why would we want to do that to the program? It is the taxpayers' money. And I asked the office to do a job for me, and I was happy they did it, but it was kind of head hurting when I saw the information. But before I drop that, let me just say, next year we're going back to training our people and making sure that we get them certified. I left documents there, Madam Speaker, contact information for the certification to take place. Monies were allocated and nothing happened. And it was ranting and raging that they're going to give these people certificate. They're going to be certified. So nice, they win, nothing happened. But we're going back to that because our people need to be certified so that they can find themselves in their own areas of specialties. And next year we're going to train a cohort of island councillors. I am bringing on board some school safety officers, Madam Speaker, because this is where we need to take the program. But Madam Speaker, just to do a quick calculation, Convis is an accountant and he got a master accountant here too. Imagine if somebody was on the program from the inception. That is 2013 when we officially started. And they were at Brandy's Enterprise from 2013 to now. I mean, that's not a real business name, I'm just sharing. But we have these things here. That Brandy's Enterprise from 2013 on to now on the STEP program. Madam Speaker, you have any clue what the total or how much monies we would have saved that business? Because it's we investing it in the individual. Yes, the person wanted work, they have the family to fend for. One whopping $192,839.44. From 2013 to now, you have somebody working in your place and you can't take them permanent and they're doing such a bad job. You leave them in your place from 2013 until now, and the program would have invested $192,839.44. We got to fix this, Madam Speaker. We are going to work with one another to get this done. This cannot be sustainable, Madam Speaker. And we are going to work the best way we can to make sure that persons are not disadvantaged, and at the same time that government is not used either. So, Madam Speaker, I move now to the PAP. Much would have been said about this program, but I want to just let the public know that we have started the re-registration process. And as of this morning, we have over 10,000 persons who have applied for the PAP program. But what was painful, Madam Speaker, was how things were done. I walk me back, but you say I don't have much time. I remember I am a teacher, so I like to have my demonstrations and all of that. 4 minutes? I'm going to try to finish it in 2.5. I'm not going to get the extra. But Madam Speaker, I have a lot of things here. But with the PAP, when you have civil servants making more than $3,000 on the PAP, I believe the AG will say that's a crime. And immediately I moved towards fixing that. Then we discovered all sorts of numbers that don't exist in Social Security. And all I did was to ask them to do cross-reference. And creative as some of them are, James Daniel Brown, Daniel Dave Brown, but I have the same Social Security and the same bank account. Who's so crazy to have the bank account and know that somebody has got the same bank account? And as a result, Madam Speaker, we had to bring the program to the point where we had re-registration done. A good cause, but abused. Some are so bold to tell you that they're putting up the $500, they're just saving it. But when I do cross-reference with some of the names, Madam Speaker, the name up in NHC, well, I'm in charge of NHC. And most likely the name might be over Skellig. So if you get in the $500 to help you, why don't you put it in the areas that it should go and you would be able to benefit better? So, Madam Speaker, we have to do much better than that. And there were some persons, because they want to appear to be political, or we take off people, not a thing, so Madam Speaker. Everybody who on the program, including the hairdressers, them who got their own business, that should not have been there. We ain't take off a soul other than the civil servants, so some of them up to $5,000 was getting. And I forget to mention, you know.
Honourable Member, you're out of time.
Honourable Speaker, can I be allowed just a few more minutes?
The Honourable Member of St. Christopher 1 has requested additional time, the maximum of which he has is 30 minutes. Those in favour? Aye. Those against? The ayes have it.
And I promise you I'm not going to use the 30 minutes because you have been very, very good.
I'm grateful.
to me. But Madam Speaker, we had to make some changes. And at this time I want to commend our new permanent secretary, Mrs. Zilla Clark, and her entire team for doing an awesome job in the time frame that I gave. I felt bad, Madam Speaker. But I wanted it done. And they were able to get it done dead on time. So we have asked persons to re-register. And of course, you heard the concerns about making sure that is the right people benefit from these programs. We are going to be doing our due diligence in a lot of areas, and you would have heard me in my presentation to the nation that we will be adding case management to it. I would not be the minister with responsibility for this program, Honourable Speaker, and support 5 families in the same house getting $500. It is wrong, Madam Speaker. Some have already approached me indicating, well, all of us live in the area, but I live in the yard. I live this way, but is not one, is all. I said to the person, and you know I'm a straight shooter. I says, one $500 going there, you decide which one going to get it or how you're going to split it. We cannot continue to support wrong, Madam Speaker. We are going to try our best to get the program where it should be. We know that there are always leakholes and people are going to try all sorts of things. But one of the things they're signed to on the farm, whether they read it or not, is after investigation I find that you were lying, you'll try another time and another program. It can't happen, Madam Speaker. And people must appreciate the investment of taxpayers' money. It is not so much about a government, you know, it's taxpayers' money. Again, when I went to Antigua, and I had a document here, Antigua has a similar program, people support program. And when I met with the individual, and he said they're getting $215. I said, well, how much people are on the program? I thought, so I said, you mean 2,100? They said $215. EC dollars. That is what is being paid in a similar program down in Antigua. So we are in a much better position, but we cannot afford to abuse it. But Madam Speaker, when I read, and if you want it, I could bring it for you when you have it over your lunch. When I read all that they're asking for the $215, it is unbelievable. But in $215 until you die, but you know, Madam Speaker, you know, you got Pap was going to dead people account. People dead, but he was still going, and relatives withdrawing the money back to Antigua. No, with this program in Antigua, they give you, based on evaluation, they give you 6 months or a year. They load up the card, a credit card, through 4 C's, and you get the card. At midnight on the 6th month, the card shut down. There is no rolling over either. And when you try to make another application, because you know sometimes in 6 months or a year, some person's condition might not have changed, or they just need a little bit extra push over the hill. they now have to carry all the files and the envelopes of all the places that they applied for a job. And they were denied for them to get another opportunity. Well, we always try to learn from best practices, so I want you to read the document, Madam Speaker, and as one of my past students, you give your teacher a little insight as to what you think, because
You'll have to pay a consultation fee first.
well,
I'm on a private business, just so you are aware.
Okay, well respected, Madam Speaker. I'll see where in the budget I might be able to fit you in, but things, done allocated, but something might be able to work out. But the bottom line of the point I'm making, Madam Speaker, I don't want persons to feel that we are taking away the pap from them. That will never happen, because I have always said, even in the campaign, any social program that you are benefiting from, we can only better it. But I don't want our people to take advantage of it, because many people want to get on. Their conditions are horrible. They never got an opportunity to be in the 7,000 plus that were there. And some of them did not qualify to be there. But for the sake of a vote, not studying what can happen to the people after the vote or the country, we make certain decisions and we pay the price after that. But the team, they are doing an excellent job in getting the PAP program exactly where it ought to be, Madam Speaker. And no longer would we, as a government, see these things happening and shut our eyes. My father always said to me, wrong is wrong, and don't care how you polish it up. Once it's wrong, it is wrong. And you only got your name. So I have to hold on, and my name, Geoffrey Hanley. So I am going to do things the right way, and the way God expects me to do. So I ask the country to be patient with us as we get now into the other phase of the program. But you would not be left out. Madam Speaker, again ready to close. As parliamentary representative for St. Christopher #1, I continue to see this community spirit in action, and I only ask the people for their active support in 2023 to getting more done for all of our single mothers, and I guess I'm going to hear fathers too. You see, I say not about fathers, but if you had say fathers, I would say mothers. And making sure that everybody puts a helping hand. Because Madam Speaker, once there is a caring shoulder or a listening ear, it goes a long way to bring relief to others. As one Antiguan, and oh boy, back to Antigua, I guess because I have my wife from down there. Calypsonian and philosopher had one so eloquently stated in a song, and I repeat it: not just a society, but a just society. Let this, Madam Speaker, be our plea. In conclusion, this 2023 budget can and will provide the catalyst that is needed for economic growth and social advancement. And you heard it coming out throughout all of the presentation and fully supported by those members opposite those who have presented thus far. As a government, we would need to vigorously pursue the goals that have been articulated in our budget as a policy document and rightly use the resources that have been allocated. Each year, Madam Speaker, the cost of providing public goods become more costly. The need for conscious, determined action becomes more necessary, a priority. That is why I take this opportunity to wish all workers in the ministries of education, youth empowerment, aging and disabilities, housing, human settlement, and ecclesiastical affairs and faith-based social development, gender, just in case I did not remember anyone. Merry Christmas and a festive and rejuvenating carnival. There's much work to be done in 2023, which will demand our full attention and dedicated action. I also end, Madam Speaker, by saluting the good people of East Bastille who have sent me to this National Assembly to deal with the matters that would improve the social condition that they might be encountering in the areas. And I thank again the great people of East Bastille for their love, their support, their encouragement, and I pledge to work always, as I've been doing even before I'm over here, on your behalf. I know I've been bombarded, Madam Speaker, by telephone calls with many concerns, especially those on the Southeast Peninsula, with their water situation, but I give them the reassurance. You heard it coming out in the budget address. You will hear more of that coming out from the minister who has that passion. We are working on remedying that situation. Much of it, of course, we inherited, but we're not going back there. It's a new day. It's a new day. It's a new day, and God has been good to us. Will give us all of the technical support. You heard the Honourable Premier talking earlier about the collaboration with the DISAL plan that is coming. The other opportunities, the geothermal, the other opportunities with linking up with Marriott using what they have over there. So we are at work. So I just want to give my constituents that assurance that in quick time, we are going to fix it. They will not endure it for that length of time that they did, that they voted out of government. But to those persons in the Frigate Bay area, the Bird Rock, the Ponds Pasture, the Ponds Extension, the New Town, the Ponds Estate, the New Pond Site, Taylors, Bladens, all come in, almost, you know them, I remember I just got there foot, and they're going to see me this week because I'm giving out my cards. I am not putting them in, Madam Speaker. One of the reasons why I start giving out my cards, I was going to bring them in, I was going to use them last year. While I was in opposition, and we're not going to do that at Congress, we are not going to allow that to happen. But while I was in opposition, whenever I placed my cards in the mailbox down the post office, having paid for my stamps, carry them myself and drop them off. For years, they just put on stamp, return to sender. I had them home in a bag because, like I said, last year I was supposed to drop it in Parliament. But I know the Honourable Congress is not going to allow that, and people got to understand that it is an offence to tamper with males. And it's somebody down there who it was the conscience. They came and they told me, Madam Speaker, they told me exactly what was happening.
Indulgence, please. Honourable members, let us allow the Honourable Member for St. Christopher I to complete his presentation without the unnecessary and loud crosstalk. Thank you very much. All members.
Thank you very much.
On both sides.
Yes, thank you very much. But
Proceed, Honourable Member.
Honourable Member, you know that nobody at all, absolutely nobody at all, could intimidate me in this house. Because when I come in here under an anointing. I anoint my lips, everything, so you don't have to worry about a thing, Madam Speaker. And they never silenced me when I was in the opposition or me in government until whenever I'm ready to retire in my 70s. They ain't gonna try not now. But back to the post office.
Complete your presentation, please, Honourable.
I was saying those practices cannot continue, and I don't make up stories and I don't practice to tell lies. I know for a fact what was happening. So you're going to see me bringing around your Christmas cards and your Christmas greetings. So I pray that together we will be able to accomplish many good things, Madam Speaker, in this new year. And I look forward to all of the excitement, all of the projects, all of the innovation that our citizens will be able to benefit from. And it's all we are serving. And as such, Madam Speaker, I wish this budget safe passage, and I express best wishes for the Merry Christmas to you, Madam Speaker, and all members of the Honourable House, and to the clerk and all the staff of the chamber. May 2023 be our year of continued favor. May it please you, Madam Speaker.